a straight up conversation about education.
Yo, you don't know. We going global with this thing. Watch out there. Akiting ambiente. Anything that you put your mind to it, we will back you up on it. Akiting ambiente.
Cherise, good afternoon to our listeners and to our Facebook followers who are tuning in as we're about to start another straight up conversation about education.
Yes, good afternoon again, and we hope everyone is doing awesome, awesome. So thank you so much for being. I hope you had a good week. How was your week today, Deborah?
It was relaxing. I went back into the office, or my new office, let's put it like that. My new office, actually, after a year.
Wow. So
Yeah.
for those listening and our Facebook viewers, everyone at the university, we are at the main office.
Yeah, we moved from
Yeah.
Apex after about almost 10 years.
Yeah.
At Apex, we finally went back to the main building of the university. So it's nice to have everyone, our colleagues together. So it felt a bit strange.
Again, it
There's
was
the warmth. Yeah, there was warmth. And they were actually lots of interesting conversations. I would say my productivity might have been affected a bit by it yesterday, but the most important part is that there were a lot of interesting conversations.
But Deborah, conversations are important as well.
Yes, they are.
So-
Yes,
so-
they are.
So today we're celebrating Ubuntu for Social Month, Social Work Month, and we have an alumni from the program of Social Work and Development, and also a lecturer, two very special persons. So as a first, I would like to say welcome to Lisanne that you can see there.
Hi. Now let's see. Can we see
Lisanne, good afternoon, and welcome to Straight Up Conversation about Education. How are you today? And congrats.
Thank you. I'm doing really good. Excited to be here. So thank you for the invitation. And yes, March, we're celebrating Social Work Month.
So, and also congratulations to all social workers. And today we will have a poem dedicated especially for you. There at home, social workers in Aruba and all over the world. The social work team for this year is Ubuntu. And we're going to be explaining a bit more about Ubuntu. But first of all, we are so happy that you are here, and now that we want to see Lisanne a little closer. So let's invite Lisanne into our conversation. Yeah, there she is. So Deborah, how about you asking Lisanne to explain a bit of who she is?
Yes, she's going to start, and later on we're going to Ubuntu, because I myself, even though I hosted a webinar last week where the topic was Ubuntu, I had to look into it. What does it mean? And I was really interested about what the meaning is. But let's start with Lisanne. Lisanne, bon tarde, welcome. Tell our audience, our Facebook listeners, everyone, a bit about yourself. Who are you?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Lisanne Lalwani. I'm 25 years old, and I recently graduated from the Social Work and Development program at the University of Aruba, even during a pandemic. So that was a great achievement last year.
Yes. And for all students who completed their study successfully,
Yeah.
hey for you.
Yeah.
So yes, Lisa, I know it wasn't easy, yeah?
No, it was not.
Nah.
At one time, I was like, am I going to make it or not during the pandemic? But it was worth it with a little bit of determination, and it did happen. So I'm really proud of that.
Awesome. So what would your friends say about you? What would
Yeah.
your friends say from Quinta Lisanne? Who is Lisanne?
So I really did and went and asked my friends. So how would you describe me?
Oh, wow. Everyone really goes to their friends to find out. How
Yes,
would you
yes.
describe me?
Because I feel when I describe myself, I'm like, okay, that's how I think. But others, when they talk with you or they know you well, they explain it better. So my friends really say that I'm someone that's outgoing, determined. Sometimes I can be over the top and a bit dramatic.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but it comes with the enthusiastic of myself, so being enthusiastic about the things I love, what I'm passionate about, and I can be a little bit loud at times, but That's something that really makes me unique, I believe, when you stand out in a crowd.
Okay.
So that's a bit about me.
You know, she said several times, like, okay, loud. I can't see
Yeah,
her. No.
for those of she was also very active in the board of
Yes.
Circle K, which is a service club of
Yes.
students at the
Yes.
university. So, if you are thinking of registering at the university, we have an open house March 25th, and it's a virtual open house. So you can just surf to our website and sign up. And back to Lisen,
So, yeah.
she's very progressive, loud, but loud in a positive way.
And that's always a good
Positive way.
So, okay. So you told us what your friends would say.
Yeah.
And now let's find out about you, about your education, about your
Yes.
education trajectory. Because Sharice Cake said it already.
Yeah.
You graduated in a very difficult time.
Yes.
Where I can imagine normally everyone is stressing already.
Of course. Of course.
And then you have COVID and you still have to try and study up.
Yes.
So where did you go to kleuterbasis? Give us the whole.
Okay. So I started kleuter at Imelda Kleuter School. Then I went to Rosario College. And then after that, I went to Colegio Arubano for HAVO. My dad was someone, just a little bit of information. My dad is Hindu, so he comes from India. So he's really
Yeah.
Oh,
focused
wow.
on education. So when I went to HAVO, he's like, but why didn't you go to VWO?
Pressure. Talk about pressure.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
we've had
Yeah.
this many times. Talk about pressure.
Pressure and comparing your daughter to other and stuff like that. So
You know, as a parent now myself, I know parents mean well, but
Yes.
sometimes it brings unnecessary
Yes.
pressure. I have to say sorry to my son, but sometimes it brings unnecessary pressure. But the thing is, they want well for you.
Yes.
So it's meant in a positive way,
Yes.
but sometimes,
but
some
sometimes the
parents-
way they bring it
Yeah.
over comes a little bit too aggressive.
So
and
I
you're-
guess parents have to learn some communication skills
Yes.
themselves.
We are being enthusiastic and still encouraging your kids.
Yes.
Yes.
So parents, if you want to, just go on our virtual open house, you are welcome as well, because it's good for you to be informed as well. Neighbors, friends, community leaders, everybody. Tomorrow we're starting at 6, doors open at 5:30, and you can just register through our website ua.aw. Listen, back to you.
Yeah. So I went to HAVO and then I wanted to become a lawyer. So I needed VWO for that. And I'm like, okay, dad, I'm going to do VWO. So that's going to happen. But after VWO, I was still unsure of what I wanted to do for the future. I didn't want to go to the Netherlands. So one of my friends suggested me to go to the open house from the University of Aruba.
You see people sign up, sign up, sign up.
Yes. Back then it was in person. Now it's virtually.
Yes.
We had to adapt, but I went there and I think the way they talked about social worker really was, I was intrigued by the way they talked about it, the classes, what you can learn. So I decided to join for a year. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try it out, see if it works out. And 4 years later, I graduated.
All right.
So you have-
wow.
I'll come back to that question.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you graduated and then
And then now I'm working as a social worker and information, education, and communications support staff at Familia Plania, while I'm also doing my master's in business administration.
and the Masters in Business
at the
Administration.
University
I
of
just wanted to
Aruba.
check, I just wanted to check what she's doing. If it's still, she's still so in love with the
Yes,
university that you
yes, I am.
decided to continue studying at the
Yes,
university.
exactly. Recently graduated and they open to have the opportunity to join MBA. I'm like, okay, this is a sign. Let me just do it right now immediately. And I enjoy the University of Aruba because it brings a lot of opportunities. So I'm like, why not go ahead for 2 more years?
So I'm curious, how does the MBA differ from the program social work?
Yes. Social work is really, you learn the theories and then you adapt it in the field. So you have the opportunity to do your internships at different agencies, but masters in business administration is really about you learn the theories and also apply it. So I see it as a combination of using my social work skills and then applying it. Maybe I want to start a business afterwards, or using my people skill that I learned in social work and apply it in management positions. So it's a great combination.
Great, and I really enjoyed it. And the thing is, because she didn't say, but she also went abroad. Like I said, she was also service minded.
Yes.
She
Yes.
joined the service club. So any student at the
Yes.
university, we have a service club, we have a
Student
student
board.
board club, we have a majec, which is all into environmental and taking care
Yeah.
of the environment. So so she was also active. Did that
Yeah.
experience traveling abroad, doing service for the
Yes.
community? Did that have an impact on you as well as what you're
Yes,
doing now?
of course. I believe through Circle K, I really found the passion for PR because I was the
Oh
PR
wow.
for them. So designing marketing strategies or posters to promote Circle K events, fundraising, and really talking, going on the radio or in front of a camera. And I really found a passion for that. But it also built my self confidence and
Yes.
how I talk with people with different target groups. So it was something that really helped me develop who I am personally, but also professionally.
And I think for it's not only the university. I know several different
Mhm.
schools have different a link to different social service clubs. So I would encourage anyone listening in, even
Yes.
if you're not in higher education as yet, do go to that service club
Yeah.
that's in your school and find out what you can, how you can be part of this service club family, because I think that's something really, really important to be in service of others. That's one of the reasons I think we're here on this world and why
Right.
Yes.
Ubuntu, the theme, plays a very important
And
role.
we're going to get right back to that. But we were looking at the time, and Lisanne, where are you working right now? And what are you doing? Because we have a very important topic. It was
Yeah.
talked about during the pandemic, and we still want to address it because I know you have some really good information to share and experience that
Yeah.
you had. So where are you working and what you I kind of explained what you did, but then
See.
just elaborate a bit more and then let's roll
Okay.
into the theme.
Yeah, so at Familia Plania, I work as a support staff. So I work together with the coordinator. So we really provide comprehensive sexuality education at schools through workshop and lectures. We give guidance and support for teenagers coming with us. We work with children, youths, and adults. So it's really a combination of all of that and providing a healthy sexual and reproductive life.
Okay, and having
Healthy.
said that, one of the problems, teen romance in the age of COVID, all those of my friends
Ah,
with teens and even pre-teens, it was very difficult.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit of your experience here in Aruba, but also what you did and what Familia Plania is doing.
Yeah, so Familia Plania really, like I mentioned, work really closely with youth. We start from a young age to let them recognize the development that they're going through because some people don't understand that. And when they encounter a situation, they don't know how to deal with that. So it's better to learn about yourself first. But what we encounter mostly is that youths are really on social media. So internet and social media is the biggest thing right now. And they find all the information at one click away. So you
yes.
search for the information, but sometimes something pops up and it sparks their interest and they click on it. And on internet you find good information but also bad
Yeah.
information, so you have to distinguish what is good and what is bad. And that is where we come in with our comprehensive sexuality education. So we talk to them about healthy relationships, when to say no, when do you feel comfortable going the next step, or how do you identify what is good or what is not. So all of that we try to encourage and talk with the youths, because even parents sometimes come to us and they tell us, okay, I can't talk to my daughter or son about this, so can you please help us about that. So that is where we come in.
Would you say that teenage pregnancy, because of course Sharice and I always prepare before, so I went on the website of Witgele Kruis,
Yes,
others, and
yes.
international, and you see that often teenage pregnancy also is associated, they said, with lack of sex education, where
Yes.
you said love making under the influence of alcohol and
Yes.
drugs, making under pressure
Yes.
from friends that need to
Yeah.
experiment, which comes a bit with your teens,
Yes, of
but with good
course.
communication, poor home situation. And I
Yes.
thought,
Mhm.
is it, as some would imply, is it within a certain social circle? Is it a
Yeah.
social issue, or is it something that takes place at
Yeah.
any
Any
level, so that
level.
people don't
Yes.
feel, oh well, this would not
No.
happen to my household.
Yeah, it takes place at any level because we have people from the lower social class to the highest social class coming to us, asking for information or guiding their daughter or son about sexual relationship and how to deal with that. But when you talk about teenage pregnancy at Familia Plania, we don't really use that term anymore. We use it unwanted pregnancy. And regarding to teenage pregnancy, we don't work directly with that target group because we work on the prevention level. We work with providing products, guidance, and services. Like you mentioned, with Kayla Christ really handles teenage pregnancy, but we focus on unwanted pregnancy. And I one thing that is positive about it, that we see that the numbers have lowered during the years. So that is great.
Yeah, I remember a few years back, sorry, Sharice, I think
Yeah.
there were like numbers and there was an area on the island where it was more.
Yeah.
So how many, what are we talking about in terms of numbers?
So when you talk about, I think 5 or 7 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, it was 147
Yeah.
or 178, and now it's about around 50, lower than 50.
Even with the pandemic?
Yes, even with the pandemic.
Beetje by beetje, sorry.
Yes.
Beetje by beetje. It
No,
takes
I-
education, prevent.
Right.
Yes.
And I applaud the parents because, no lie, it isn't easy for the parents because there's all that social
Yes.
media. And having said that, I'm often hearing we need to have an open dialogue.
Yeah.
Yes.
As I'm putting up on the screen, we need to have an open dialogue and support more than ever right now as a pandemic has created new complexities around sexuality.
Yes.
So how was your experience? And,
Yeah.
how did that open dialogue go? Because
Yes.
I'm happy to hear.
Yeah.
And again,
This
I
is-
commend all parents. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
And those
Yes.
doing the work, those in the
Exactly.
field, yes, those in the work in the future.
Exactly.
It's social work, one,
Yes.
Sharice.
Yes, and it's the combination of open dialogue.
Yes.
Yes.
But let's talk about the open dialogue
Yes.
with you and the team.
Okay, so before I was doing my internship at Familia Plania and then got a job there, I did a research. So my thesis was on the perceptions and behavior of young adolescents regarding their sexual behavior. And I realized that from 400 participants, it was that their mean age of starting with sexual relationship was at 15 compared to 2012, which was 14. So it increased with the years. So that comes with it. We don't know the precise thing, if it's more dialogue or if it's more comprehensive sexuality education, or it's more the use of internet that they have that information at their hand. But there is an increase in age. But when it comes to my research also, they talk about parents have issues talking with their children about it. They don't want to be open. Or when they talk about, oh mom, do you and dad have sexual relationship? And they're like, no, what is that? No, you cannot talk about it.
Are you telling me that still happens in Anno 2021?
Yes, it does. It does.
I'm not saying it's easy, but I think.
No, I mean,
Oh, okay.
yeah, there's some parents that I'm not mentioning all of them because some of them even come with the daughters or sons at us. Can you please help and guide her? What products does she have to use? Because I know that she's just sexually active. Do they talk up with their parents
Okay.
about it?
Oh, wow.
So you have a variation of that, but it's important, like Sharice mentioned, to have that conversation with your child. It doesn't have to be like the direct, okay, what are you doing right now with your sex life? But it comes with, okay, I know that you are hanging out more with that guy or with that girl. What is the relationship between you of them? If it's more than friends or stuff like that. So you start small and then go into more detail when the child has more confidence.
Wow, I don't know if you say, thank God we were in a different era or not. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe those at Facebook can, send a message. Let us know, their tips or tricks or anything you want to say on this topic, because I think it's a very important one.
Yes, and we often say we were coming back just now to the explanation on Ubuntu, so stay with us. We have the lecturer coming up, and she will be explaining that part. But we're always wondering what was so different. Were it good times then? Were it bad times then? How are we so different? Because there's all that social media, and we make assumption that they're not using it well. But I think most of them are, and we're lucky again. They have guidance. So could you perhaps mention a few links or site that you can say, hey, you know what? If I'm because then I could put it up in the comments. And remember, we want you to remain lifelong learners. So do your own research, and every time you have questions, we will always post the answer.
And if you want to know about lifelong learning, go to our website, www.ua.aw. just had to say that lifelong learning.
Yes, and and the Center for Lifelong Learning have so many different programs. So don't miss out. Don't say matinde. Make sure that
Say,
you're well informed.
yes.
So,
Yes.
Lisen, what
Yes.
can you tell us about a few links, because I'm looking at the time.
Oh, yeah,
and-
time.
If
Yeah.
it's simple. If you go to the Facebook page of Familia Plania Aruba, we have developed an open program, which is an online puberty education news. And there we talk about the growth between puberty, the changes in your body, but also sexting, pornography, which is really in trend also
Yeah.
between the young ages. And
Oh,
we
wow.
have a 30-minute, it's an interactive program that youths and parents can watch so that they can teach their children also. But if they don't want to do that, they can let them, watch the video, and we will guide them through the video. We also work really closely with amaze.org, which provides videos for youths, but also guidance for parents so they can see videos. Oh, how do you talk about pornography? How do you talk about sexting? How do you talk about a healthy relationship? So these are all the international partners that we also work really closely with. We also work with Rutgers from the Netherlands. So we provide that comprehensive sexuality at our workshops at school. But if the child didn't get it at school, the parents can get it through our Facebook and these links.
Yeah, you go first.
I was
You
just,
go first.
I was just wondering because one of the things too as well, I saw online, teenage pregnancy, not using the term, is often seen between a specific age.
Yes.
How do you start as sexual, this conversation at an
Yes.
even younger? Because you mentioned
Yes.
Rutgers, and I thought, I know in the Netherlands it's quite open to
Yes.
start having these conversations
Yeah.
at a very early
Yes.
age. And I know people might think here, kids
Yeah.
need to know things at the right time, but
But
thinking,
when you start at an early age, you don't start this is sex. You start about, okay, this is your body, what changes in your body, the female body, the male body, and
Yeah.
then you go to hygiene. How do you keep yourself clean, or what is permitted to touch or what is not permitted to touch, or when you're discovering
Yeah.
growths in your body. So they start from a young age, but with different concept, not from, oh, babies are made this way. So yeah.
I have one more remark, because people will go like, yeah, but if it's in America or it's not our thing, it's not
No.
our culture. No, you're sending them to these websites. So what are you doing differently for them to actually
Yes.
understand
Yes.
and apply and have these conversations?
Yes.
Because no, sa ito ko'y Amerika, sa ito ko'y
Yeah.
Yolanda.
No,
Please
but
explain.
here on Aruba, we do not have a lot of research also on this. So when you look at the Netherlands, which is close by to Aruba that we fall under, or when you look at the United States, which is way more further developed and they have a lot of research based on that, we can kind of generalize what the research they have and adapt it here to the culture and the community of Aruba. So we don't have a lot of research to give it, oh, this is what happens on Aruba. You have research, but it's limited to give that information. So that's why we have international partners also.
And I just want to add, not because it's university, but I normally try to participate with any
Yes.
research that comes
Yes.
my way, because Aruba, I think Caribbean, we tend to ignore the importance of data. But based on data, we can make decisions. And if we don't participate or we just don't, do it, then a lot goes to waste. And
Yes.
as I see, pero antes itata miho of pio,
Yes.
pero kung bosa,
Kung bosa.
hearsay does not work anymore these
Correct.
days.
And again, if we say it's from America and from that, remember in the Caribbean and in Aruba at our own
Yes.
university, lots of researchers began
Yes.
Yeah.
participate. There's one coming up from the Faculty of Hospitality right
I already
now.
signed up.
Yeah,
I
and
already
so
signed
I was
up.
like, please, everyone, research is for us, because the
Yes.
numbers and information will help us to
Yes.
become strong, a well knitted
Yeah.
community. But we're looking at the time, and I
Yeah.
have a poem I would like to read about that her grandmother wrote for her. So you see, it's first, second, third generation, and I'm going to put it up on the screen. So grandma, pops, if you're there. Excellent. Yes, we are so happy. I really enjoyed working close to Lisen. I had that opportunity. She was one of the very active members, because we believe in our students. So why take other models when we have our own
Yeah.
students? And before I read that poem, what are could you I'm going to give you the mic now to just really a shout out. We're talking about teens, we're
Yes.
talking about having
Yeah.
open dialogue. What would you like to tell the parents and youngsters out there listening to us on Massive 103.5?
Yes. For all the parents and everyone listening, I think we have to kind of break the taboo to talk about this topic. It's sound cliche to break the taboo, but it is something that is really happening, and we have to be more open. I mean, if your child doesn't come to you, he or she will go online and search for the information. So it's better for you to provide the information and then let them search further on if they want to, but you've gave them the right guidance. And if you don't want to do that, you can come to Familia Plania Aruba and we will do that and help you and guide you towards the way. And a shout out to the university students. Yes, tomorrow is the virtual open house. So please join because it's an opportunity that you have if you're still doubting, if you don't want to go to the Netherlands or the US, or you want to stay here for a while, but it brings a lot of opportunities also for you.
Thank you so much, Lisanne. We're really happy you've been here. And now this is the poem her grandmother wrote for her. Lisanne Lalwani, capable of creating a masterpiece. She will be at home anywhere and everywhere. She likes to be amongst the crowd, blessed with a charming personality, yes. Will chase away your doubts and fears in a minute. Good fortune shines on her. She's one in a million. She asks profound questions.
I think I'm gonna cry. My grandmother, because my grandma from my dad's side, so they're really religious in their Hindu culture. And then she wrote that she had them made more than 10 years ago. So we have that hanging in our house for every individual in the house. But when I read it 10 years ago, I'm like, okay, what is this? But now when I see it, I reflect back and I'm like, she knew from that time already what I am or who I am or what I'm gonna be. And I always reflect on that. Yeah, exactly. And she passed away. So every time I look at that and I'm like, damn, I've grown into the women, who I am today. My identity, and some few words just describe who I am.
There's just one question because I sorry, Shris, I know we have time, but the Hindu, how do you integrate the Hindu? I know it's a different show. In one sentence, just in one sentence, how do you integrate it?
I think my dad is from India, my mom Aruban, so the culture they just mixed together, and I think they made me learn from both of them and just find my way through that.
Okay, perfect. I just had to hear it so other people know.
Thank you, Lisanne. Masha,
thank you.
Masha,
Proud university alumni,
yes,
really.
Yes, alumni. We're really, and doing her MBA. Now it's two different studies. So everyone, thank you so much, Lisanne, for taking time out of your busy schedule, coming here. And as Deborah prepared to get the other guests, I'll be entertaining you with some music.
Yes, thank you.
Hi students, our virtual open house is coming up this Thursday, March 25th.
You can still register today. Just click on the link below. We can't wait to meet you.
See you on Thursday.
Yes, University of Aruba, we're having a virtual open house and everyone is invited. Remember, it's about your future. You can be the change you want to be. And opportunities come and go. Take the challenge. Take the challenge as it is the right time. The pandemic has changed a lot, but we are here and I think we can grow together. So, sign up on the link. And we will be here waiting for you because we would like to inform you. If you're well informed, you can make better decisions. We're not telling you have to study at the university, but you can learn a bit about who we are and what we do. So sign up today and see you tomorrow at the University of Aruba virtual open house. So it's all online. See you, and I see our guests has come in.
Ubuntu. We have with us Clemencia Eugene. Clemencia, welcome. Welcome to Straight Up Conversation. The nice thing is we've had so many of these conversations at the university that this one should be nothing. You don't need to be nervous. You don't need to just be you. And let's have this conversation about education, where your passion is, but also social work. It's Social Work Month.
Yes, but before we go to her trajectory, before we go to Social Work Month and Ubuntu, because we're talking about it. So everybody, what is this Ubuntu? That is first hear about your educational trajectory, because you're not from Aruba. Well, yes, you are now. You're living here. So yes.
But for me, she's part of.
I know. It's Clemencia.
So, hello everyone. Good day, good day. Good to be here. And so, you would like to know about my educational trajectory. Okay, so first, let me just wish everybody a happy Social Work Month
Yes.
because social work is the only profession in the whole world.
Really, Clem? Really? Okay.
Yes, we have the panacea for all of the world's problems and all of the world's joy. Where did I begin? Is that what you want to know?
Yes. Where did you
In
begin?
short, we have 30 minutes, so I'm going to
Oh,
try and
okay.
take as much as I can as to who Clemencia is.
Yes, and we want to get to the Ubuntu. So, but
Yes.
first we must know, because I think you have a very amazing trajectory, and
Yes.
we're really happy. We were joking about it, but we feel very proud, and to be
Yeah.
part of your journey, and you to be part
Yes.
of our journey.
And that's Ubuntu.
That's Ubuntu. I
That
know.
my journey is impossible without you being a part of it.
I know.
You know,
I
I am
know.
because you are.
I am
So my journey is all because you have been in my
part
life
of it.
and you've been part of that journey. If I may start, I'm from St. Lucia, and when I grew up, I wanted to become a lawyer. And my father, who was ultra Roman Catholic, said that I should never be a lawyer because if I do, I will never see the face of God.
Yes, I remember that.
So I believed him.
Oh, wow.
I believed him, and I thought since my father was a farmer, then I would be an agricultural officer, and that would make him proud. And so I left high school, and I thought I would go to the School of Agriculture, and they did not accept me. So I followed my friends and did secretarial studies at our local community college. And my first job was secretary to the Director of Human Services and Family Affairs.
Wow.
And I didn't like secretarial work at all, but I fell in love with the social workers with whom I worked. As I was typing the reports, I shared an office with the intake officer. And when she was not there, the clients walked in and just assumed I was the intake officer, and they would tell me all their challenges, and I would give them advice. I don't know if I was saying the right thing.
You had it in
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You know, and then after 2 years, I went to Rome. I first studied theology, missionary catechesis in
Yes.
Rome.
You said yes. Yes. People might see us, sorry, Clem, they might see us doing yes and looking at each other is because Clemencia's story has been powerful. It's one we've spoken about many times, but each time I hear it, I'm like, really? Really?
Right. And before she continues, that's what I like about the university. It's a warm and small knitted community where we have these conversations. We started out,
Yes.
and having these conversations is important because it's not only about academia, it's
Yes.
about who you are as a person and getting
Yes.
to understand the person. So back to you, Clement.
Theology.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
theology.
thing is, I'm still very Roman Catholic, and I grew up in the belly of the church. I always like to say if the church was an egg, I was the yolk. So I spent all my life in the church, and everybody thought that I should become a nun. So they threw me out. They sent me over to Rome to study missionary catechesis, and I came back still did not become a nun, but I continued to provide human services to the church in terms of catechesis. And then I did that for a few years, but my love was always to do social work. So to summarize, then I went to Jamaica. I did a bachelor's in social work in Jamaica. And then I did my master's in clinical social work at Howard University. And now I'm at the University of Aruba doing my PhD, also in collaboration with the University of Suriname, Anton de Com, Suriname. So this is me in capsule.
So lifelong learner,
Yeah.
lecturer. She is right now conducting different research in this with a
Yes.
PhD.
Yes.
So what do you have time? What would you do in your
And mother,
downtime?
and mother,
a
and mother, and a mother.
Very important.
Yeah.
Before I must say good afternoon from Nicole Godet and all the other social workers. They're looking in, then they asked me to say hi to you, Clemencia. So
And I want to say
thank
to our
you.
business director, Patrick Aarons, who's listening in.
So yes, they're all there. Oh, Clemencia. I said yes, Clemencia's here.
So my business is now in public.
No.
And all meant in a well way. But Clemencia, so coming back to that, so now you're here at the university. When you started, it was different. It was different. Social work, you knew social work in St. Lucia, social work,
On
Aruba.
You would like me to talk about the difference?
Yes, just slightly, because we're going to come back on the Ubuntu and the interpretation thereof. But just so people can see from hey, we're the thing. What I think what we should appreciate of having Clemente at the university is that you can look at life from different
Yes.
aspects, because you lived in Jamaica, you lived in St. Lucia, you worked, and you also lived in America. So you have different views and different experience. What could you share with all the social workers and everybody out there?
St. Lucia is an island like Aruba, and the social problems are the same. The complexities of the problems are the same. Limited resources in the Caribbean, in Aruba. If ever there is a crisis, the first cut comes through social services. So that remains the same. However, in one of the distinct differences for me is that Aruba has many, many NGOs that provide social services. Unlike in St. Lucia, most of the services are centralized in government. We have a few NGOs, but not as many as we have here. Also, and all those NGOs specialize in particular problems or issues and age groups. And in St. Lucia, we do have NGOs that do provide some element of specialization, like we have one for older persons and persons with disabilities. But they work at a very, very micro level, because there's a government department responsible for older persons and aging, and we tend to dominate the services in terms of providing funds and supervising homes and so on, which was my job actually. Prior to coming here, I was the Director of Human Services and Family Affairs. So that is your social Zaken, your Bureau Sostenemi, your Imelda Hoff, your Saba, your SBHR. Did I miss any?
Yeah, many. We have over
Many.
50 nonprofit organizations. And now that you explain that a bit, it brings us to the word Ubuntu, which is the theme chosen by the International Federation of Social Workers. Explain to our audience why this is so important this year.
Yes, how wonderful it is that Ubuntu, an African philosophy, could be chosen as a theme for social work in 2021. And what it means is just that I am because you are, and you are because I am.
Could you repeat that again?
Yeah. Oh, she's saying it so nice and powerful.
yes.
Come.
Ubuntu,
Repeat.
it means that I am because you are because I am, and we are nothing without each other. So it speaks about the shared humanity that we all have in common. And I am only somebody through somebody else. I am Clementia through Deborah. I am Clementia through Charisse. And you are Charisse because I am. And if we understand and if we appreciate our human existence in that way, then there will be room for hate and jealousy and revenge and war.
Yes.
Because there's no place that I begin that you do not begin. And there's no place that I end that you do not end. So it really speaks about just loving each other, being compassionate with each other. Because if I'm unkind to you, I'm unkind to me. If I don't have, you don't have.
Yeah.
So why do you think we have thieves breaking people's homes?
Yep.
Because there's a perception that you have more than me.
Yeah.
So in order to equalize it, I will break your house
That is
so that
true.
I can have a little bit about the shared humanity that exists. So I live my life by that principle.
That's it. Okay.
No, sorry, no. Because this is for those listening in and those on
Yes.
Facebook. If you're not touched by the tone or what Clemencia has said, then I don't know what else would touch you, because I'm sitting here and I can feel it, the power and the passion that you have for what you do for social work, but humanity. And I had to look up the word because last week I was able to host one of the webinars that Clemencia presented on this topic. And in Papiamento, we no está, pasó. What was it again, Clemencia? Oh my God, I forgot right now. But oh God, I'll look at it again.
We'll pull it up.
But I looked at the word, and indeed, if you look at in Zambia, Ubuntu, there were different ways of writing it. In South Africa, they even referred to Boto.
Yeah.
Zimbabwe, Unu, of Hunu. Kenya, Utu, Omonto. And they were all the words were similar. In Angola, Gimuntu, I was like,
So it has to do with the together.
Mozambique, Umuntu. To see that sometimes we speak different languages, dialects, but it all means the same.
But a parallel to that in Aruba, because I did some research to try to contextualize it in the Aruban context,
Okay, that's what
and
I
the
was gonna
word
ask.
Pagalomba would be the
Right.
closest to Ubuntu, which my understanding, having read the book of Luke Aloth and Leontine on Kenteo Narbiano in chapter
Yes.
4, he speaks about Pagalomba and how that was practiced in Aruba, where people will come together and support each other in construction of a home or doing any community project. And we have that same system in St. Lucia called Kudme.
Could you repeat that?
Kudme.
Kudme.
It's French Creole.
Okay.
Where everybody in the community will come together and support each other in a shared project. It could be constructing a house, it could be harvesting maybe bananas or building a bridge. And this is what Ubuntu is. We all come together to achieve one goal because we're all going to benefit. So why say I
Together.
wouldn't participate, then there is this one and there is that one and this othering, There's no room for othering when we talk about Ubuntu. And the world and all the chaos and the wars and the tragedy that we have is because we don't recognize that we are just one.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, because like we always do, we do some research, and one of the things I noticed with Desmond Tutu, he talked
Yes,
about
he
the
was-
14 values when we're talking about
Yes,
Ubuntu.
yes.
And then when we're talking about, he says the courage, community commitment, and one of the first values were self-awareness.
Absolutely.
So could
Yes.
you just, marinate a bit on the self-awareness and why that is so important in the whole context of the different values and Ubuntu?
Absolutely. Desmond Tutu's granddaughter wrote a book on everyday
Yes,
Ubuntu.
that's it.
Yes,
I
I
can't
saw.
pronounce the name, but I think it's Munungo Goname.
Yes, I
Something
didn't
like
want to
that.
pronounce it because I said maybe I didn't have it. But if you
But
have
in
it,
her
I'll
book,
put it
she
up
spoke
there.
about 14 lessons of Ubuntu. And the first one is that we should see
Correct.
yourself in other people. And we can only see ourselves in other people if we know ourselves. And
Yes.
if we love ourselves, and if we practice self-care, and if we are aware of who we are.
That's what lifelong learning.
is all
Lifelong
about.
learning is all about.
Clemente, could you please move to your right, because they said we can't see the lady. She is so
I'm
interesting. Yes, but you have to keep the mic because they want to see you.
They want to see. They want to feel that energy.
Yes,
They want to,
yes.
and they
I
can
thought
only.
this was only radio. I just didn't know it was actually people were gonna see me.
It's okay, Clemente. Yes,
Oh.
it's okay. You look gorgeous as
That's
always.
interesting. Okay, all right. here
So
I
going
am.
back to self-awareness.
Yes, could you just maybe touch 2 or 3 of the 14 values? And I'm going to try to look it up and put it in the comments.
Yeah.
So because Ubuntu, there are different values that, form together to Ubuntu. And then go back to the examples that we have in Aruba. I was asking if you can mention that again.
Okay, so mention Pagalomba.
Yes. I guess the organization who do this actually what everybody else does. I think you gave an example in St. Lucia and Aruba.
Oh,
with the Aruba
okay. Yeah, I was saying that when I discovered that Ubuntu was the theme for Social Work Month, and I had already come across the word many, many years ago. I studied at Howard University, and Howard is one
Yes,
of the
oh, wow.
best historical Black colleges in the United States, and they taught from a Black perspective. So I learned about Ubuntu, but never used it. But when I saw it, I was like, wow, hey, finally the world is getting evolved. They're beginning to embrace that which is, African. And Africa social workers have for some time trying to decolonize social work and trying to kind of make it more authentic and real to their own experiences. So I was very impressed when the world of social work is able to kind of embrace that. So, and then I decided to figure out how does that look like in Aruba and in the other islands. And then I stumbled on Luke Alo's book, and I had a conversation with it because the book is in Dutch, but I was able to Google Translate chapter 4 that speaks about Pagalomba. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Paralumba.
And that would be the closest concept or expression of Ubuntu within the Aruban context. And my understanding, it doesn't happen as much as it used to before,
Yeah.
where community members will come together and work on a particular project. It could be construction of a home. It could be building a footpath or things of that sort. And in St. Lucia, there's a parallel known as Kudme. And some of you may know that St. Lucia was colonized by both the French and the British. So we do have a French Creole language that we speak. So Kudme is really a French Creole expression, which means the exact replica of Pagalomba.
Paralomba.
Yeah,
You know?
Pagalomba. It's not
Pagalomba.
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 So
Paga
Luke, for
Kubolo.
those of you who don't know, Luke Alves is also lecturer at the University
Yes.
of Aruba and the program Social Work and Development and OGM Organization Governance and Management. So if you sign up for our virtual open house, which is tomorrow, you will meet Luke. But you can also read everything about it in his book, Quinta Arubano.
Yeah, that is
Yes, you know,
no
so
sta paso no sta.
Sta. Yes. Okay. So back to you, Clemencia, on the values as well.
So there were 14 principles of Ubuntu, according to the Everyday Ubuntu book written by the granddaughter of Desmond Tutu. And of the 14, within the social work, within social work, as we were celebrating Social Work Month, they identified, I think, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 8 of the principles were found to be very much aligned to the values of social work. So one would be see yourself in the other. And as social work, we hold this very important because we teach our students self-awareness.
Yes.
And you need to know who you are, and so that you could better appreciate the other. So that's one. There's another one that I like. It says, believe in the good of everyone. And as social worker, you need to believe that our clients, our participants, are more than what has happened to them. They are human beings first.
Yes.
So whether they have committed crime, they have experienced domestic violence or child sexual abuse, or they are homeless, or they're chemically dependent, there is still good in them because we share the same humanity. So our role as a social worker is to really empower them to recognize that they are more than what has happened to them. They are human beings first and foremost, just by being born, and they deserve the right to enjoy a better quality of life. But they might need a little bit of hand-holding, and that's what we do. And that's why I say that social workers, we are the panacea for the world problem. We work
You
for
can teach
people nobody wants to work.
preach,
Yeah,
Clemencia,
we work
preach.
with people that nobody wants to work with, people that they despise. But we believe they deserve a first chance, a second chance, a third chance, because I am, because you are.
You know, I'm just getting chills because I'm feeling the energy. So those of you who are thinking of social, want to learn again about the program, join us more because you will be able to speak with Clemencia and, you know, the other alumni who are online and sending us messages. I think they're all inspired. And, you know, it's all of us, like you said, we all need to empower each other. And I like the way you said it because we don't talk about patients anymore. We talk about our clients. We talk about looking at them as a person. Thank you for underlining that because I think it's extremely important that empowerment has to come from us, has to come from all of us. You know?
We can also transfer that in any other workplace, even in the workplace. Some of us has experienced discrimination. In Aruba, we have a multicultural society, and I've heard how certain ethnic groups feel discriminated, like those from Venezuela or those from Colombia or those from Haiti. If we believe in Ubuntu, that shouldn't exist because that's my brother. That's my sister. There is the oneness between us that is invisible between us. So why would we think that somebody is not deserving of just being and occupying space and being here just as we are here?
Oh, wow. And you know, Clemencia, you'll have to come back another time because I think, you know, this conversation can go on. We have had these conversations many, many times, but I just, you know, you touch me each time we talk.
Oh, really?
And I think not only you, many other colleagues at the University of Aruba. as Cherie said, this is who we are. No star, we're all here because of each other.
Yes.
But I'd just like for those listening in to know a bit about your PhD research. So we not going in depth, but just want
Yes.
for them to.
Oh, sorry. I just want to let you know. Shout out to Poots. He said this conversation is so interesting. If you pass four, it's okay. So right after us,
Thank
it's the Poots show, everybody. So stay tuned. But we have a little bit more time just for her to elaborate just a bit.
Little
Don't
bit.
want to
So
give
not,
away.
yes, not give away, because those of you who are not on our mailing list for the Center for Lifelong Learning missed last week's webinar, which you hosted, Clemencia, and it's just an abstract, a touch, tip of the iceberg of the research you're doing. With the title of the presentation was the impact of child maltreatment and children's human capabilities in Aruba. So we don't want to go too in depth, but if you can just either what motivated you to go into this direction of your
Because of
research?
Ubuntu. You know why? Because I believe life begins from conception of children. And if we don't get it right there, we set up our children for a difficult lifestyle, which they don't deserve, you know?
Yep.
And knowing that every child is a child of God, every child has a right to be here by virtue of just being born. And my own experience working with children in difficult circumstances, I thought I would dedicate my life to doing research on children. And one of the many concerns or issues that affect them is abuse and neglect. And that has the potential to ruin a child's life until the grave.
Mhm.
And I want to make a contribution so that doesn't happen. And so I decided to look at what is the prevalence of child maltreatment in Aruba. But to go a step further, not just to talk about what the prevalence rate is in terms of percentage, but how does that impact human development at the macro level of a country?
Oh yes.
Yes.
You see? So it's one thing to say, yes, child abuse, that hopey, or, but then after this, then what?
Yes.
How does that impact your development and my development and our development? You see? So that's my life's work. And I still have a long way to go, but it's okay because I want to enjoy the process as well.
The journey.
Enjoy the journey as well. And I've given up the need to hurry up and get it done. So I just want to take my time.
And this is good that you're saying it,
Yes.
because we've addressed this many times on the program that, the educational trajectory for everyone looks different, even though you have what you have already. But sometimes doing a PhD, you can take a long while doing it. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with any level in your education. If your classmate did it in 3 and you did it in 5, at the end of the day, that doesn't say there's nothing wrong with you as a human being in walking your road and enjoying that journey. And when you reach the destination, then you'll celebrate it. But the growth along the way, those lifelong learning moments are those what matter the most, because that PhD is not going to define who you
There
are.
you go.
Right.
There you go.
It's not going to define,
It might be a bonus, but it's not going to
it would be a bonus.
Correct.
And I know,
Correct.
and I think that's
Correct.
one of the things that we've kind of indicated many times on the radio, is that we as a university, of course, we want to give that academic baggage with person, but it should not be the only thing that defines you. Along the way, you need to know who you are,
Yes.
and the other things would come. But
Yeah.
a degree is one of the many things you are. So don't hold on to that alone.
Yes, and so when we're talking about the 14 principles of value for an Ubuntu, we are going to encourage you. We're going to put some information, and please read it and reflect on it and have those conversations that you think that would help you develop on that other person. Because if you develop and you acknowledge where you are in life, that would also mean that we all will grow as a community.
Yeah.
So now that we're still coming to the end, but Deborah, you wanted to ask me something?
No, I was just saying, for our audience on Facebook, if you're not seeing us, we just fell out a minute, I see. So, sorry for that. But those listening in, I hope that Clemencia's story inspired you, you
Yes.
know, to be Ubuntu. And it's something that maybe through the years we've lost. But sometimes, you know, it's a bit also the development of us as society, you know, we are accelerating so quick
Yes.
that we have to make choices. And sometimes the choices we make to let things go are just the ones that, you know, the ones we need to hold on to.
I think the West has influenced that a lot. Huh? I think that in the West there's a high sense of individualism, no? Each man for his own.
It's for his own.
You know, that reminds me of the poem, "No man is an island, no man stands alone. No woman is an island, no woman stands alone." I think John Donne, I think, who wrote this poem. I think it's also a song. But within the African context, there's a sense of community, and there's no I, there's no you, but we.
Correct.
There's no I in team.
There's
no
in
I,
team.
there's no you, but we. But
Yes.
in the West, you talk about I, and there's a high sense of individualism. I think we need to be able to make that shift, and then we might be able to enjoy peace in the world, huh? And peace in communities, to see that we just have to be kind. We just have to be compassionate.
And understand each other, and
Yes.
accept each other for who we
Yes,
are and
yes.
where we are.
Because
in
we want
our
to be
journey
accepted, you know.
of life.
It's I think
Yes.
sometimes we forget we want to be accepted, be it at our work, be it in our home, in our
Correct.
families. But it starts sometimes with accepting others as they are.
And to
Yes,
know
for
that
who
none of
they
us
are.
and to know that none of us have all that full deck of cards, no?
There you go.
We
But
all have
together,
yes.
we
Yes.
do have that deck.
Could you
of
imagine
cards,
this
you know?
program with Deborah alone?
No,
Could you
No.
no, it
imagine
would
this
not have
program with
been.
Charisse alone?
No.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yes, it's the energy that you share, and that where you can empower each other. So you know, we are over time, and thank you, Poots, but we're coming to the end of our program. And you know, I you know, as we were preparing last night, I said, Deborah, I'm gonna send a quick chat to Clemencia, because I know she's very creative with words as well. And Clemencia, do you have a poem that you can dedicate to all social workers and or future social workers and those prospective students who are going to sign up after this program to be
Just
in our
because of
virtual open house, just because they are inspired of who you are and what you shared? Could you share a beautiful poem with us?
Actually, I started trying to write a poem, but the inspiration never came. That I could share a poem from Derek Walcott. I hope I remember the words. It's called Love After Love. Derek Walcott won the Nobel Prize for Literature. He's a St. Lucian. And I just hope I remembered it. It speaks about love. The time will come when with elation you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Eat bread, drink wine, give back your love to yourself, to the stranger who has loved you all the while, whom you ignored for another. Take down the love letters from the bookshelves, the desperate notes. Peel from your own image. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life.
And on that
Derek Walcott.
Oh, wow.
Walcott. We will put it up, and we will also make sure that everyone has that in the comments so you can read it and reflect on your end. Deborah Clemencia, thank you so much for this inspiring conversation. You Facebook listeners and our listeners on Massive 103.5, we thank you for being here this afternoon.
And we look forward to having you next week again at another interesting straight up conversation. What's the hint for next week?
Be young, musician, and entrepreneurs. Where does that leave us in Aruba?
And there's some love in between that, isn't it?
There is so much love in
There's
between.
also love that.
Yes.
Okay. Till next week.
So, everyone, remember every Wednesday, 3 to 4, Massive 103.5, and live on our Facebook. So, Facebook viewers, thank you so much. We will say goodbye to you.
And thanks to the University of Aruba for making this possible.
Yes, and therefore we have a quick announcement for our open house.
Hi, students. Our virtual open house is coming up this Thursday, March 25th.
You can still register today. Just click on the link below. We can't wait to meet you.
See you on Thursday.
Yes, that was our colleagues from the academic foundation years. So bye-bye for our Facebook viewers and those on the